Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. My name is Ben Lin, and before we get started, I just want to cover a few logistical issues. All the attendees are set on mute, so if you have any questions, feel free to send them in through the chat box via the webinar app, and we will address them either throughout the presentation or at the very end of the presentation where we have a Q&A session period. So the webinar will be recorded and made available to you upon request. So with that out of the way, let's get started. First of all, I want to welcome everyone that's here today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. We have a very exciting solution that we want to present to you. It's to simplify and automate your supplies fulfillment. And this is really an introductory dealer webinar to give you some high-level information to see if a solution called ACM Connect is appropriate for you and your business. I'd like to quickly introduce a few folks. So first of all, my name is Ben Lin. I'm the Executive Vice President of ACM Technologies. Also on the line is Anna Grubb, Director of Customer Experience from PrintFleet. Hello, Anna.
Hello, Ben. Thank you for introducing us.
And then I also have Justin Kimclay, Account Advisor from PrintFleet.
Hello, welcome everyone.
Hi, Justin. A quick agenda for today. So first, I'm going to provide you with an overview of what ACM Connect is, give you a better idea of the scope of the solution. We're going to talk about how the solution could benefit you. We're going to highlight the setup process in terms of what are the steps it takes to set up an ACM Connect customer, give you some details about how to sign up, and finally at the end we'll have some time available for a Q&A session. Before we get started, I do want to provide a quick overview about ACM Technologies. I believe a lot of the dealers on the line are probably already familiar with us or are existing customers. But I know we also have some PrintFleet customers joining us for the first time. So I want to welcome you and thank you for taking time out of your day. A brief overview about ACM Technologies. We've been in this industry for 20+ years. We are a world-class distributor of office equipment and supplies. Our product offering covers both OEM products as well as remanufactured and compatible supplies. We are the national authorized distributor for Konica Minolta, Coffee-Star, and Toshiba. So we have a long-standing relationships with those three OEMs. As a dealer, you can source OEM products from us, including the equipment, and we will also provide you with training and service that's related to that hardware. We are a national distributor, so we have 4 locations located throughout the United States. Our 4 locations are California, Illinois, Texas, and Massachusetts. These 4 locations allows us to get products to you and your customers at a fairly rapid pace. Typically, we are 1 to 3 days shipping to about 95% of the U.S. at ground rates. Our main business is really, we act as a drop shipper for the majority of our customers, meaning we can send products right to you or right to your end user at no additional charge. We do try to establish a collaborative relationship with our customers. Our business is exclusively wholesale. We do not have a retail division, so our goal is really to support you guys, the resellers, with unique solutions as well as great products so that you can continue to grow and expand your business, with ACM Connect being an example of that. Next, I wanted to pass it along to Anna to provide a quick overview about PrintFleet. PrintFleet is a technology partners of ours, and we've been working with them over the past year to develop this innovative solution. And a lot of you are probably familiar with the PrintFleet brand. It's one of the leading companies in the industry when it comes to print device management. So Anna?
Thank you, Ben. As Ben said, for those of you who don't know PrintFleet, we are a worldwide solution, and we've been around for actually many years. We're the pioneers in terms of the device management capabilities. So we are the data collection agent that is going to be powering ACM Connect. And we have relationships with all of the major manufacturers worldwide to be able to collect the device information from the devices at your end user site to be able to get the information up to ACM Connect. So we have a lot of dealers worldwide, both directly working with PrintFleet as well as through distributors like ACM. So we're very excited to help launch this new program because I think you're going to really like the idea of kind of the next generation of what PrintFleet can help power in different tools like ACM. So hopefully you guys will find this very interesting. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to use the questions functionality. We will be monitoring that as Ben goes through the presentation. So with that, I will pass it actually back over to you, Ben.
All right, thank you, Anna. So let's jump right into it. First of all, what is ACM Connect? So at a broad level, ACM Connect is a web-based solution that really automates the cartridge fulfillment process. It is powered by PrintFleet, and ACM Connect allows resellers to set up printers at end user sites to automatically order toner whenever supplies are running low. The idea is once you set up the end user and the location, the entire process becomes fully automated. So it eliminates the need for end users to actively manage their cartridge inventory. And the big feature is that it really makes sure that a printer will never run out of toner. To really understand the benefit of ACM Connect, I think we have to take a comparison between your traditional toner fulfillment model and as well as the ACM Connect toner fulfillment model. So the traditional toner fulfillment model is probably something that a lot of the resellers and dealers on the line are familiar with. You have customers with a fleet of printers, and they tend to source their cartridges from you. And the typical process is when an end user notices that a printer is running low on toner, they might look in their stock room or to see if they have one in stock. If not, then if they happen to know who their supplier is, they'll go ahead and place an order for that toner cartridge. Sometimes they will shop online or go through, if no inventory on hand, they'll look around online or check a couple of different sources. And then they go ahead and order their toners. At that point, the toner is sent to the customer, either from yourself or maybe from a drop shipper. End user receives the toner and installs the cartridge into the machine. Now, this process is repeated every time a printer runs low on supply. Overall, this is a very reactive approach. Both the end user and the reseller is reacting to the printer running low on toner. And the fulfillment is generally triggered as a reaction to the printer running out of supply. There's a lot of inefficiencies with this approach for both the end user and reseller. For the end user, their printers might be down for a couple of days while they wait for that cartridge to arrive, right? They also have to spend time identifying the supplies that they need. You can have multiple end users, excuse me, multiple end users ordering printer supplies from different resellers. For the resellers, it's also a challenge. This is something I'm sure a lot of you have faced, right? Not knowing when you're going to get that order, not knowing if your resellers or if your end users are shopping around, looking for better sources, right? How much inventory are they currently carrying? When do you have to reload and replenish them? When you do place an order, how quickly will that toner get there? Is it going to get there on time, or are you going to have some challenges? So these are all the different challenges that I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. Now let's take a look at the ACM Connect fulfillment model. The ACM Connect fulfillment model is very different. With the ACM Connect fulfillment model, there is a small software called a device collection agent, also known as a DCA, that sits on the network. And this agent is constantly monitoring the devices on the network to see what their supply statuses are, as well as looking at the print volume that those printers are generating over time. Excuse me. Once you have visibility to these printers, you are able to use ACM Connect to set them up to automatically order toner whenever they're about to run out. So now, instead of a reactive approach to resupplying these machines, the solution allows you to always deliver toners to your customers before the machine runs out of toner, right? So it's a much more advanced, it's a much more different way about to think about how to fulfill toners for the customer. And you'll see shortly that there's a lot of great benefits, both for yourself, but more importantly, for your end user, right? Because this is a solution that needs to make sense and add value for them in order for you to convince them to try it out. ACM Connect, might not be a great solution for everyone, but it is a good solution for you to try out if you meet a few criteria. One is if you have to carry a large amount of toner inventory for your customers, or if the customer has to stock a large amount of inventory. ACM Connect will be a solution that helps reduce that inventory carrying cost. It could also be a good solution if you have to manage toner supplies at multiple locations. So if you have a couple of customers with large sites and you're constantly shuffling back and forth trying to figure out where the inventory is and how to fulfill those, how to get enough toners for them, this could be a good solution. If you find that you're spending a lot of time processing a recurring purchase order for a given location, so let's say you got this customer locked and every week, every 2 weeks, you're processing orders, and you're spending a lot of administrative time just to fulfill, even though you have the business locked in, this could be a great solution for you as well. It's also a solution if you're finding that you're having a hard time keeping your customers' loyalty. With the economy being the way it is, there are a lot of price-sensitive customers out there, and there are people that like to price shop. ACM Connect could be a solution for you to lock that in and prevent them from going around and trying to find different products, different vendors for their printers. And finally, it's a way for you to save money on your shipping costs. One of the key features, which I will talk about right now about ACM Connect, is something called predictive replenishment. So this is a proprietary technology that PrintFleet has developed. It is something fairly unique to the industry. Now, if a solution simply allows a printer to order a cartridge every time it's running low on toner, we would be shipping a lot of small toner orders with just 1 or 2 cartridges every time. And this is really a fairly inefficient way to deliver toner, right? If you have multiple shipments going to the same location on a weekly basis, you or the end user is paying shipping charges on every single order. What predictive replenishment does is that it takes into account the print volume of specific printers as opposed to looking at low toner alerts. So it works by taking into account the actual print volume of a specific device and trying to predict which devices will run out of toner in the upcoming period. So now, instead of multiple orders over a couple of weeks, it's going to create a consolidated order for all the cartridges that the customer will need in the upcoming period. The reorder period is customizable, but we have a system default of 28 days. So, but if you do prefer to ship your orders on a weekly or every other week, that is something that you can customize within the solution. Now, predictive replenishment really is the main feature that will allow you to be much more proactive, because now the question is, instead of reacting to, hey, my printer is running out of toner, I need an order, the solution is, hey, I'm going to send you every 28 days all the toners that you will potentially need in the upcoming 28 days. And it does this by analyzing usage trends, right? So if you look purely at a toner threshold of 10%, there's no way you can tell whether that 10% alert means the customer is going to run out of toner this week or next week or 2 months from now, because the usage might be different, right? One printer might be running thousands of pages a day, and that 10% threshold might mean they're going to run out of toner in 2 days. Another device might only run 1 or 2 prints per week, and that 10% toner alert might mean that the customer will not run out of toner for months and months. So predictive replenishment really combines the 2 factors. It's looking at how much print volume is being ran on those devices, and it's estimating how many days before that printer runs out of toner, and it creates a consolidated order to take that into consideration. So that is a unique feature that is, as you can see coming up, will provide a lot of great benefits for you and your end user. Some of the benefits that we see, and we've seen customers already experience, is that it does create a recurring revenue stream and creates a more predictive revenue stream. If you can lock in your customers on a contract and convince them that, hey, whenever your device runs out of toner, we're just going to automatically send you a replenishment. That's going to give you a much more predictable revenue stream. It's going to help increase customer loyalty because now you're providing a better service and you're being much more proactive about replenishing their toners. You're also helping them save costs. It's also going to help you identify new sales opportunities. One of the great benefits of installing a DCA at the client site is that it's going to identify all the devices that are connected to the network. You might have a steady client and that you fulfill toners for, but you might not know that they could have 10 or 15 other devices connected to the network that they're not buying from you. So this gives you an opportunity to have a discussion with those customers. Hey, I already supply toners for you on these 10 different devices, but I noticed that there's 10 other devices that you don't work with us on. How can we get that business? It's going to reduce order processing time because now the orders are transmitted automatically instead of a manual process, which also helps to reduce your administrative costs. For the end user, there are some great benefits. One is, the idea is they should never run out of toner. You're going to be proactive about replenishing them. You're also going to reduce the amount of inventory they have to carry and reduce supplies becoming obsolete, right? Because now you're not going to have a storeroom full of toners where if they switch out to a new device, that toner becomes no longer valuable. It's going to help them reduce order processing time. Also helps them to centralize the toner purchasing. If you can convince them to go on a program where they consolidate all their purchasing through you, that's really going to save them time. And finally, which will help them become more productive. To demonstrate kind of specific examples of these benefits, I think we need to look at some details to see how much time is spent processing a toner order. So this is something that you guys probably go through on a regular basis in your traditional toner business, right? End user's printer goes down or they're running low on toner. That could mean they're down 1 to 2 days, right? Now also they have to contact you, their supplier, let you guys know which model they need, how much toners. At the same time, they might try to look around and see if there's other cartridges that might need to be ordered. So the amount of time spent on that could be anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. But you repeat that cycle on a daily or weekly basis, that time really starts to add up, right? Now for the resellers, you also have to take time to process these orders. You have to check stock with your vendors. You might have to check a few different vendors to see who has the best pricing. You have to process the order, submit it, right? And also doing all the related tracking and follow-up, right? So by consolidating and automating this process, it's going to generate some significant time savings for the end user and yourself. And that really will allow you to free up time to work on more valuable opportunities, like trying to find more customers, right? Or trying to upsell customers on different things instead of on administrative activities. Another example we talked about a few times is just sort of inventory cost savings. So we want to kind of use a real world example. Let's say you have a location that has over 100 devices. And with the traditional toner model, you need to keep some inventory on hand for those devices, whether it's at your location or at the customer location, because they don't want the situation where they're out of toner and they can't print for 2 days. Right? So in an average scenario where you have 100 devices, that end user might have to carry, 1 cartridge for every 2 devices that they have. Now we make some basic assumptions about monochrome printers versus color and the average cost per cartridge. For a location like that, that could be, up to $2,000 tied up in inventory just to sustain those 100 devices, right? Now, because ACM Connect will allow you to move more towards a just-in-time fulfillment model, you're only shipping toner that they're going to need in the upcoming 28 days. It's going to really reduce the need to carry excess inventory on hand. So that's going to reduce the amount of toners that go to waste because the machine is replaced. It's going to also help reduce shipping, right? Because now we're sending a consolidated order. So those are just a couple of tangible examples that we can see can add a lot of value for the end user. And that's who you ultimately have to convince to try out this solution. Okay, So now I want to get into a little bit more detail about the setup process. Now, while we're not going to go through a screen-by-screen presentation of how the solution works, I want to just kind of highlight some key steps to show this is really a fairly simple solution. Now, if you are interested in signing up, we have a full suite of material to help you through the configuration and setup process. We have some videos, we have some detailed manuals, right? But this is really at a very high level how the solution works. So in terms of a setup, the first thing you do if you do sign up is we will provide you, the reseller, with a portal and credentials to log into that portal. It's the ACM Connect portal. And once you sign in, you'll have the ability to create different customers, right? And as well as configure them with different locations. So first step is to talk to a customer that wants to try this out, and then you go into the portal and create that customer. And the system will now automatically send that user an email with a DCA installation link, which is the device collection agent, right? And it is up to the end user to install that DCA, or you can help them through that process, right? But it's a fairly streamlined process. It's something that PrintFleet has managed very well, and they've done this for millions and millions of devices. So once the end user installs the DCA, you can go into the ACM Connect, and you will see a list of devices that becomes available to be managed, right? So at this point, it becomes a discussion between you and the end user where you essentially verify, hey, we see 100 devices, we like to put 80 of these on this automated supply fulfillment program, right? And once you verify that, you can enable those devices to be managed, right? Which means that they will be part of the program. Step 3 is if you want to change the reorder frequency, you can, right? We believe a default of 28 days is a good number, but you might modify that based on how conservative or aggressive you want to be and how often you want to ship out a consolidated order, right? And then after that, you would basically click a button that enables the whole program to go live. Now that is the setup for one customer. You can repeat this process for as many customers as you want. There really is no limit. You also have the ability to set up multiple locations for a specific account. So if it's a bank or a law office with multiple locations, you can have separate DCAs for each of those locations, and you can set up devices separately. Once you've completed the setup process, pretty much the system becomes automated at that point. There's really not a lot more you need to do. What will happen is a new order will generate every 28 days. So it's going to look at the past usage. It's going to look at the device toner levels, and it's going to say, hey, these are the toners you're going to need for the next 28 days. It's going to create and generate an order on that date. This order will transmit automatically to ACM via EDI, and we will fulfill that automatically. You do not need to create an order for that. Now, you will be notified when this happens. The end user will also receive email notification. So the entire process will be transparent. You will know when this happens. You will be able to intervene if for some reason you don't want the order to ship out. But the whole idea is this thing should be automated, and it will free up a lot more time if you don't have to worry about following up with the customer, making sure they have enough toners on hand. So that generally is it. You set up the customer and just let the process flow by itself, and you just monitor your emails to see there's some more advanced things, like if a customer brings in a new device to the network that wasn't on the original list, you'll get notifications for that, right? If we're out of toner or if there's any kind of order issues, you'll get a communication from ACM directly. Now, there is a scenario that could very well happen, right? So if the system predicts that, let's just say it determines that a certain printer is not going to run out of toner in the upcoming cycle because they only average 10 prints per week and there's still 20% left. So it's estimating it's not going to run out for another 3 months. But for some reason, that device volume all of a sudden shoots up, right? They print a large print job and it drains the toner on that device. There is something called an emergency threshold, where if the system's not expecting a toner to arrive, but it finds that the printer is running out before the next toner arrives, it's going to kick in and generate an order just for that printer. So that's how we can guarantee that you will never run out of toner, even though you're only doing a bulk order every 28 days. So that's it. It's a fairly simple setup process. And then in terms of how to actually sign, I guess one important thing is how much is ACM Connect, right? So I think a lot of you probably have already talked to an account executive, but the beauty of ACM Connect is there is no sign-up fee, there is no monthly recurring cost to use ACM Connect. You can sign up today and try it out. You can get as many end user as you want. Now there is what we call a per device monitoring fee typically, but ACM is going to cover the cost of that fee as long as each managed device generates at least 4 cartridge orders per year on average. So we think that any kind of average to high usage customer should have no problem reaching that threshold. Our goal is to provide this solution to you free of charge in as many scenarios as possible. We believe there's tremendous value in this solution for you and your end user. And the fact that it does not cost anything to utilize the solution, I think, is a great added benefit for the dealer. So if you are interested in signing up or want to learn more about this solution, please feel free to reach out to your account executive, or you can send us an email. We've set up a ACM Connect specific email. It is listed on the presentation right there. And we will help you, walk you through the steps. We will help you determine if this solution is right for you. But the best way to really understand it is just to get hands-on, right? You can sign up, you'll get access to the portal, you can find a friendly customer that you can try this with. Until you actually enable the contract box, nothing will happen on the back end. So even if you want to just kind of install the DCA at a site, see what pops up, see what the potential is, that could be an option for you to really try out this solution. So with that, I believe that concludes our presentation. Once again, I want to use this opportunity to thank you guys for joining us. We are fairly excited about this solution, but at the end of the day, this is a solution to really help you guys expand your market share, really help you create some efficiencies. So I don't know, Anna or Justin, if you guys have anything to add, but we can definitely jump into the Q&A session. As we mentioned earlier, if you do have any questions, please send them via the chat box, and then we will answer as many of them as we can. And if we don't get to your questions, we will for sure follow up after the presentation. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ben. It's Justin Klimkate here. We have gotten some great questions that have come in from our attendees. Continue to ask them through the question function if you would like. But I'll go into a few of them, and then hopefully someone on our team can respond back accordingly. I'll start with the first one here that we received, and that's: how easy is it to install DCAs on customers' locations, and do you need someone to go on location? Approximately how long will it take? So I'm not sure if you'd like to answer that, Ben, or?
I can try, but I believe the DCA installation process is something that's fairly established. It is fairly easy. It is an email link, and anyone with any basic IT capabilities should be able to install this on the network. But I believe, you know, Anna, if you want to chime in on this, because you've seen, I'm sure, lots of instances of installing the DCA, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Thank you very much, Ben. So basically, the DCA is sent via email to an end user, and you actually do not have to have any technical capabilities, specifically on a Windows-based environment. We do offer our capabilities on other platforms as well, but it simply is an email that your customer will receive with a download link that they just have to click, and then the install will just automatically happen on their network. And if they do come into any problems, which I wouldn't anticipate they would, they can always call our help desk for additional support.
Okay, thank you, Anna. If that answers that, I'll move on to one of our next questions. It would be related to how will ACM handle fulfillment items that they do not stock, and can ACM provide supplies for all devices? I'll leave that open to, I'm not sure if you'd like to take that one again there, Ben, as it's related to ACM, or?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so we do have a pretty broad selection of supplies, and we try to cover, you know, the most common models that are available in the industry. So that is something that you will be able to see once you install the DCA. It will let you know whether that's something that ACM has supplies available for, either OEM or remanufactured or compatible. If there is a device that we do not carry supplies for, obviously we cannot do the automated fulfillment, but that is an option that you will be able to see. Now, one thing that we are doing is we are constantly monitoring these requests. So we see a lot of devices that we don't carry toner for. That is something that we're going to go and try to source for you guys to make it available, because our goal is to cover as many devices as possible to make this solution as beneficial as possible.
Okay. I'm actually going to expand upon that a little bit as well, Ben, because the ACM Connect portal does have the possibility of you, the dealer, selecting what we would call the management status. So there's two different components to the ACM Connect portal. There will be a serviceability portion, which will let you know whether or not ACM has that product available, and it'll tell you yes or no. And then there's also the management status. And then if you would like to select a device and you can put it as a managed status, it will say serviceability of no. That will send an email notification directly to ACM to let them know that you would like this device to be managed. And then should ACM add that capability to the catalog, you will, as a dealer, receive notification that ACM has added a new device that you're looking to manage. So you'll get a notification of that as well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Anna. I'll move on to our next one. I'll pass this question over to Paul, our solutions expert here with PrintFleet, and it is regarding security and what kind of information is collected by the DCA and how can we be sure it is safe and secure.
Yeah, that's of course we don't collect any public information. So the only information that we collect are information that's related to the printer. So we don't collect who's printing, we only collect how many pages are printed and what is the supply level of the device. We have a lot of security white papers for that. So if anybody is interested in, okay, what is the DCA collecting and what are the transmissions between the DCA and the ACM system, I'm willing to share all kinds of white papers on that.
Okay, thank you, Paul. I will then move on to our next one. We are getting a few questions regarding this, and it's regarding if a device cannot be supplied through the portal, through the predictive replenishment portal. Does this count towards the minimums in terms of having the use of ACM Connect? I'm not sure if you'd like to answer that, Ben. If it's not available through the portal, is it something that would be charged for essentially?
No, you would not be charged for it. We are only focused on managed devices, which means that we have supplies for them and we can do the automated fulfillment. So if an end user has 100 devices and only 10 devices are set up to be managed, we would only be looking at those 10 devices to be potentially charged, even though you would be collecting data on those 90 additional devices.
Okay, thank you, Ben. I'll move on then to our next one. It's regarding locally connected devices and if ACM Connect supports locally connected USB devices. And I will pass that question over to Anna to answer that.
Okay, thank you, Justin. So ACM Connect can communicate with locally connected devices using a little piece of PrintFleet software called the Local Print Agent, or LPA. That piece of software must be installed at the desktop that is connected directly to the locally connected device. With that said, a word of caution with any locally connected device is our software is only as intelligent as the device itself. A lot of locally connected devices are not capable of reporting data. So if they're not capable of sending us the data, then we would not be able to get to that data. So two things to bear in mind is, yes, we can capture locally connected devices, but we have to install a piece of our software that goes with the data collection agent, which is a local print agent. And then we also have to make sure that the device is capable of reporting the information, because there is more limited capabilities with locally connected devices. So the preference is always networked if possible.
Okay, thank you, Anna. I'll move on then to the next question. Perhaps Paul would be able to field this one. It's if notification emails, if they can be branded, if they're branded ACM, PrintFleet, or they can be branded from the reseller's point of view, if they can be branded using their logos.
Yeah, currently the all the emails, sorry, are branded with the ACM logo, so with the ACM Connect logo, powered by PrintFleet.
Okay, thank you. I will move on to one of our last ones here. We have if you have any more questions, please continue to send them in through the question portal. It will be the next one. Sorry. Yes. What kind of the supplies are currently available through ACM Connect? Is it just toner, or is it PC kits, drums, etc.? And can additional items be added to ACM Connect's the supply fulfillment portal?
I can take that, Justin. Generally, our main coverage is the toners and drums, which are your most commonly used supply items. Those are also the alerts that are generated most typically by these OEMs when you install the DCA. So as of right now, we do not cover things like maintenance kits or parts or things like that. We're really focusing on the supplies fulfillment aspect, which is the bulk of the business. So.
Okay, thank you, Ben. I'll answer a few more a few questions here in terms of one question was if there is an available copy of this webinar after. It is being recorded and can be provided to dealers that would like that. There's also some videos available of how to utilize the ACM Connect portal, and there is helpful documentation that can be sent to assist dealers with this. Another question I'll field over to ACM is, what and how is the return policy executed for toner cartridges, I believe?
Yes, so the return policy will happen as any traditional return policy. So it just follows our standard policy. If a toner gets delivered, whether it's defective or damaged, you would just let us know, and we will issue a call back to bring that back or send a replacement if there's a defective issue. So that part of the process is not impacted by the ACM Connect solution, because that happens typically after the toner's been shipped out and invoiced. So the return policy will follow the traditional policy as it always has.
Okay, Ben, great.
Yeah, sorry, Justin. I do see a couple of questions relating to the cost, so I just want to provide some clarification, if you don't mind. So there's a question about the 4 cartridges per device per machine, whether that if you have one device that falls short of that disqualifies the whole waiving of the cost. It does not. We're really looking at an average. So if you have 20 devices that you set to manage, and as a collective whole, they generate 80 cartridges a year worth of orders, that fee is going to be waived. Now, keep in mind, for color devices, a lot of times that's just a single order. A year will waive that fee, because if they order a full set of cartridges, all 4 colors, that we count that as 4. So it's not 4 separate orders, it's 4 cartridges per year per device on average. So we do feel it's a fairly low threshold, and that there's a lot of potential end users that can fit that. One thing I believe I might have forgotten to cover is sort of the potential, who would be a good candidate for this from an end user standpoint. And typically we're looking at customers with at least 10 devices, I think would be a good start, with sort of medium to high print volume. So that would be good candidates, because if they're not ordering toners more than a couple of times a month, if they're only ordering toner once every 6 months or once a year, they really wouldn't be a good candidate for this, because they won't benefit from some of the cost savings, right? So I would say if customers with 10 or more devices, you're placing multiple toner orders for them on a weekly or monthly basis, would be good potential candidates.
Okay, great, Ben. I do have one other question here. I'm not sure who can best answer this between Ben or Anna here, but instead of the order being shipped to the customer, can it be shipped, I believe it would be directly then to the dealer instead?
I will take a stab at this, but I think, Paul might be able to answer this a little bit more if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. When you set up a customer, you have to assign a shipping location for that customer, and that's where we would fulfill the order to. So I believe you could replace that shipping location with your own location if you want, but then you would be on the hook once you receive that inventory to go ahead and deliver to that customer. So I believe it can be done. We do recommend that you send these toners directly into the customers, but it's obviously a choice that you can have if you wanted to. Is that accurate, Paul?
That's completely accurate, Ben.
Okay. Well,
okay, great. I'll move on then to the next one. It's related to what ACM Connect can cover or fulfill toner supply for. And so it's a question, as an example, if I have 100 devices set up and only a percentage of them can receive toners supported by ACM, will I still be able to monitor the ones that ACM does not carry the toners for?
Yeah, so this question actually comes up quite a bit. So we do want to be clear that this is not a full MPS program, right? This is meant for you to get devices under, so it's not really designed to fully monitor the device and usage of every single printer and generate alerts like the full PrintFleet solution. But what it does give you is visibility into the devices that are on the network. And we do have some reporting functionality that will trigger emails, like a weekly email that summarizes the supply status on various devices. So we can set that up. But in terms of what some of you might be familiar with in terms of a full MPS solution where you can log in at any time and look at the statuses and how much pages have run, I do not believe that capability is provided within the solution. But there is some PrintFleet options if you want a full PrintFleet solution that can do something like that. So Anna, you might want to chime in on this one.
I think that's absolutely great, Ben. I don't think I have anything to elaborate on that one specifically.
Okay. I'll move on to the next one here. It's a great question sent in. Can we determine what toner to send? Compatible, Eco Plus, low yield, high yield, etc.
Absolutely. So obviously a question from someone very familiar with our product line. And as you know, we do have sort of the Eco Plus product line and our Blue product line. Within the configuration for ACM Connect, when you set up a customer, you can set up a priority or in terms of what supplies you want to ship. So you can set it as, you know, hey, I want to ship the high yield first, Eco Plus, and if that's not available, ship the, you know, Blue Elite high yield, and if that's not available, ship the low yield version. So that is something that you can determine and configure at the customer level. So if you have a customer that prefers remanufactured cartridges, then you can set that up and we will ship the remanufactured version first. And you can also select OEM as well as one of those options. If there's a customer that only wants OEM, you can select OEM as a top priority.
Okay, great. I think that answers that. Another one here sent in is, when shipping the products or the toners to the customer, is a customized packing slip included with the shipment, indicating the dealer as the shipper?
Absolutely. So this will look like any other drop ship business that we do. So it will have ACM's name will not be on the packing list. It will not be on the shipping label. It will indicate that you, the dealer, is the shipper, and the sold to will be the end user customer, whatever name and address that you key in for that account.
Okay, great. Well, in terms of the questions that are coming in, it looks like that more or less answers all of them. Again, if there are any further questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We will be also forwarding over a copy of the webinar here to the dealers that are present. It seems that that's come up a few times, if you can obtain a copy of this. Also, if you'd like to know more, of course, there's some great resources. If you can reach out to ACM, the email should be as part of the presentation on the slide there. I'm not sure if you want to pull that back up, Ben, the slide with the contact information and email.
Yes, absolutely. And you can, yeah, and you can always contact your account executive or just call us, and we will put you in touch with the right people to help you through this process.
Yeah, okay, great. Let me just see here if I've missed anything. Yeah, anything else that was not answered will be answered following the webinar on a private basis there. But otherwise, I'd like to thank everyone on the panel here. Sorry, Anna here has something that she'd like to add in.
Sorry, somebody just asked a question which triggered something I wanted to make sure we did clarify, and I don't think we have maybe clarified quite clearly enough, so I want to make sure I take just one more second, Justin and Ben, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the question was specifically asked about the volumes and for different, you know, whether or not they could see the volumes, and that reminded me of the fact that to be able to see the volumes, you would have to have PrintPlate Optimizer, which is a separate instance of, actually a separate software that we do offer. That's kind of PrintPlate's core functionality, is we have PrintPlate Optimizer. So what I can do is I can circle back around with anybody who's interested in seeing that. That would mean that we would have ACM Connect as well as PrintPlate Optimizer functionality. But the reason why I'm mentioning this is for those of you who are already currently a PrintPlate customer, you can connect to ACM Connect without doing anything other than giving an API key authorization over to ACM, saying that for these devices within these, what we call groups in the PrintPlate world, I would like to send these over to ACM Connect. So I think that I want to make sure I took just a couple seconds to clarify that. So existing PrintPlate customers do not need to install a new DCA. They do not need to do anything special except for perhaps you may choose to set up a special group that you may call ACM Connect and then put the devices there that you wish to send over to the ACM Connect portal. Okay, hopefully that made sense. It felt like a lot of information in a short period of time.
No, that's great, and thank you for bringing it up, Anna. That's important for everyone here to know about. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, thank you everyone for being on this webinar and for joining us here today. As I mentioned, it will be sent out to you, so you can have that as a takeaway. as well. If there's anything else you may require, some information for your end customers as well can be provided. Just let us know. Otherwise, thank you, Anna. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Paul, as well. And for everyone else here on our panel. Otherwise, I think that should just about wrap things up. I don't know if you want to say a quick word at the end here, Ben, but otherwise, I think that would be good.
No, absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for your time. We wish you a great weekend and happy holidays.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.